happening. Crude prices, we should tell you, jumping today. And Brian Sullivan joins us now from CNBC HQ to talk about the new Iran sanctions reports that are impacting the oil markets and I imagine the equity markets as well, Brian.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, listen, with regards to the stock market, Jim Cramer's talked about this for a long time, Andrew, that oil has gone up. That has pulled the market up with it. At some point, maybe there'll be a breaking point. We'll find out where that is. Either way, back to the key story here. Remember last year, the United States imposed sanctions on Iran, basically said nobody should be buying Iranian oil. However, a number of countries, 8 of them, China, Japan, South Korea, among others, they petitioned for waivers. They said, listen, we'll stop buying Iranian oil, but we need time because this is part of our long-term supply strategy. Those waivers for 6 months were granted. Those waivers are now rolling off. And according to numerous reports, guys, the U.S. government does not want to extend it. In other words, saying to our allies, hey, do not buy any more Iranian oil, period. They want to bring down Iranian exports to zero. Now, keep this in mind. Iran produces about 2.75 million barrels per day. That is way down from where it used to be, but still, it's a lot, one of the biggest OPEC producers. Now, Iran does use some of their own oil, but the most of it is exported around the world. So here's the question. If we can truly stop Iranian exports, we're talking maybe 1.5 million to 2 million barrels per day of supply used by Japan, India, China, South Korea, Turkey, and others that now has to be filled by somebody. If Saudi Arabia cannot make up that gap, where does that oil come from? Because it's a commodity. If there's not enough of something and too many people want it, prices are going to go up. And Becky, I mean, this is not a president who likes to have high oil prices. I mean, we have seen, guys, we have seen this president, when oil hits about 60, get angry on Twitter. Right. And by the way, we're at 65 now. So if oil goes up, I expect more tweets.
Brian, you said one thing. You said if we can stop these exports, how effective do you think these sanctions will be?
Well, I think we're going to find out. And the reason I use the if word is this. Okay, so the way that we work, I don't want to get too in the weeds and wonky. It's early in the morning. But here's the thing. Our Treasury Department stops oil from flowing by doing one thing. If you want to buy Iranian oil, we're going to cut off your access to U.S. capital markets in other parts of your business. Right. All these other nations do other things besides buy oil. We can cut them off with the Treasury, stop the cap.
We've been really effective in the past. Is there any reason to think it'd be less effective?
Well, no, but the reason I said I think we'll be effective in stopping that flow on official sales. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. A lot of these oil tankers from Iran, we've seen it in the past, and it'll probably accelerate, is you know what they do? They fill up 1 million barrel tanker, they turn off that GPS tracker. They call them the ghost ship. Effectively, they go around the world selling oil to people that are not putting it on the official registry and ships that are not visible on some of these satellite tracking services. Literally, it's like New York. You go, so you want to buy a watch? Well, how about you want to buy 1 million barrels of oil in a super tanker, which is being effectively illicitly sold? India needs this oil perhaps more than any other country. And there's a lot of ways to get oil into India.
Brian, I would just simply ask you, though, couldn't the U.S. fill the gap?
Right.
A big, obviously a big part of the Trump administration's goals with regard to oil was eliminating the trade deficit that we have in fossil fuels. And it's very much of a drill, baby, drill administration. Perhaps we can fill the void.
We could fill a small amount of the void, Jason. Good morning, by the way. But here's the thing. What's the difference between vegetable oil and mayonnaise? And effectively, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the difference in types. Oh. They're both delicious, by the way. One's better on sandwiches.
Right.
But that's the difference in the viscosity of some of this oil. Some of the Iranian oil is thick. It's heavy, what they call heavy crude.
So it has to be refined.
Texas, we're light and sweet. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's,
it's
like maple syrup.
Is different.
It's a different type of oil is the problem, yeah. But it's Venezuelan oil, by the way. But Venezuela's got their own problems. They're down to, what, 500,000 or 600,000 barrels per day? So Venezuela can't make up even if they wanted to, they can't make up the gap because we know the rolling disaster that is Venezuela. So we're going to see, guys, if this works, where the price of oil goes. We're up 2.5% right now because the president then is going to have to put pressure on one party. You know who that is?
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia. That's it. Pick up the phone, call the Saudis. You need to put more oil on the market. Saudis need $88 a barrel to meet their needs, though, in terms of their own budget. So I'm not sure how willing they're going to be to do that.